Hey, everybody, we are really honored today to be joined by Kevin Moore and Jim Matheos from the OSI band, project, thing, whatever it is. They have a new release coming up very soon, which we are super excited about. So on this one, I guess one thing, you guys are the two constants from record one until now. Who are the players that are on the one that's coming up that people are going to hear?
This one is really just Kevin and I and Gavin, the drummer. Gavin Harrison from Porcupine Trees on drums. It's the first record we've done without any guest appearances, actually. So
cool. So let's go back a little ways now to when you guys started. How did you two guys first meet each other?
I don't remember. I was in Dream Theater.
Yeah, I think
I played on a Fates Warning record.
So basically, you played on that. You guys met each other. What made you decide to do a project together? How did that come about?
It started, I was basically looking to do a solo record in between Fates records, and I'd sent Kevin some demos, originally just hoping to play some keyboards on it. And I sent him a couple songs, and he sent them back to me, and he'd kind of chopped them up a little bit and actually put vocals on them, which is not what I asked for. And I loved it. I loved the direction. It was totally, he took the songs and brought them in a totally different direction than what I was looking to do, and I was just really interested in that. So we did a couple more, and first OSI record was born.
What prompted you to put vocals on it?
It was a way for me to approach the songs. It was an easy way for me to do that, is to have vocals as a guide.
So is it easier for you then to put the vocals first and then everything else follows it, kind of?
Yeah, it's easy. It's easier to work on a song if I know what the melodies are going to be, see how the sections transition into each other. And
a lot of bands will write the music first and then the vocals kind of come secondary, but it seems like on this, the vocals really kind of are almost coming first.
It's all at the same time. It's all happening at the same time because we're sending stuff back and forth. So
I'll send him maybe one guitar idea, and he'll, like you said, put a vocal on it, send it back to me. So it really does happen.
And is it a quick process, or does it take a long time
It can be quick. Some songs, sometimes I'll send him an idea and it doesn't change much from the original idea, except for him putting vocals on it. And other times, it can take 6 months for a song to become fully done till we both agree that it's, we don't want to do anything else with it.
The recording process of it, you recorded the guitars obviously at your place. And where did you do the drums on this one?
Drums Gavin did at his home in London. So
really?
Everyone basically does their own thing at home, and then we get together for mixing and we do some final arranging and recording there. But
the mixing on this one is a little bit different. You guys, the last couple you used Phil, right?
Yep.
And this one you went to the beautiful state of Iowa to do the mixing. What prompted that decision?
From past experience, we found that no matter who we get, Kevin and I end up doing a lot of the work just because it's the way we are, and we kind of get our hands in there no matter who's in it. So
you guys are both engineers and you kind of do all the stuff on your own. Theoretically, you could probably mix it yourself, right? Or do you need that extra person there just to make sure that you're doing it?
Yeah, I think we definitely need a third opinion. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to drums, I can handle the guitars and my stuff, and Kevin has a big hand in what goes on with the vocals, obviously, but there's no one there no one really there to watch out for the drums. So that's a big thing that we look for.
Yeah, we don't know how to do drums.
One thing that I've always been really intrigued by, and I think it was one of the reasons why the OSI's done so well, is that the vocals are definitely a little different. It's not your typical, certainly not your typical heavy record vocals. Is there any limitations you have on how you're writing the songs because the vocals are going to be different, or you just write it and then it's all kind of comes out the way it does?
Yeah, there's no restrictions at all. I think at first, again, getting back to the first record, I was unsure about how it would fit, with some of there was a lot of heavier material on the first record when I first wrote it. So I was a bit unsure of how that kind of approach would work with it, but like I said, I ended up loving it, and now there's no restrictions at all for myself when I'm writing. I just present him with whatever sounds good to me, and hopefully he likes it as well.
And the other thing that I think is also very fascinating, certainly to me, and I know everybody else, is the lyrical stuff too. You're telling all these interesting stories and interesting perspectives. Do you want people to understand it viscerally, exactly the way it is, or do you want people to kind of make up their own mind?
No, I sort of do want them to. I want to get across what I'm talking about.
And there's, when you're going into writing a record, there's no preconceived I need to make sure that I touch on these various subjects, or it's kind of whatever you're thinking. Not really, at that time period.
But at the end of an album, I noticed that there is kind of a theme throughout an album. So a lot of the lyrics come from I'm just mumbling along, and certain sounds will come out. Sometimes I'll actually record like that. I'll just try to sing along and make up lyrics.
a lot of times you're not writing the lyrics first. You're kind of thinking the melodies, and then sometimes the words will.
Yeah,
will
no, I never
flow
write
into that.
Yeah, I don't write the lyrics separately.
I think that's really interesting. He'll do like stream of conscious, like he's saying, and he'll send them to me sometimes, and I think they're great. I think Indian Curse was one of those. He sent me one of the original demos, and I said, "That's great. You got to keep that." And I think it was just mostly
Mumbling.
yeah.
Like, I know you guys have a lot of different musical influence and stuff, but when it comes to OSI, is there anything that is influencing you more than anything else with this project, or is it just kind of the potpourri, so to speak, of everything?
I think that actually, I mean, I always draw on all my different influences, from metal stuff to progressive to electronic. You know, I don't think for me any more so on this project than anything else I do.
When you're writing an OSI record, is it different from writing a Fates Warning or Arch Matheos thing, where you're like, okay, that stuff could be a little heavier, and this has more dynamic to it?
It's really not. You know, I usually end up sending him so much different stuff. You know, maybe 50% of it gets used, so some of it would be for Fates, or some would be for Arch Matheos, or whatever sounds good to me, I throw it his way, and he kind of works whatever. This
is the fourth record now, so you clearly must be having some sort of fun doing these things, right?
Fun's a strong word.
Well, that's why I asked, because I know the personality of you two guys, and fun wouldn't be probably the right word to say. But what drives you to continue to do this?
Creatively, it's pretty satisfying for me. I mean, I like the end result. It's so far removed from the other things that I do, and it's the one thing, I say this a lot in interviews, it's the one thing I can listen to where it doesn't sound so much like me anymore. I can actually enjoy it because it's changed around so much. I can't listen to a Fates record and really enjoy it because it's too much of me that's in there. But here it gets shuffled around and moved around so much I can actually listen to it and enjoy it. So it's creatively really satisfying for me.
Yeah, for me it's my main outlet, really, because once we started doing this, I sort of didn't do chroma keys so much, my solo project thing that I was doing. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say it's fun just because it's all kind of torture, like writing for me. I mean, it's great when it's finished.
You guys have not ever played a live show up till this point. Is there
right now?
Is up until today? Yeah. Is there a reason for that other than, I mean, I know you guys, are busy with a lot of different things, or was it set out like, okay, we're going to do this, but we're not going to play any live shows?
It's something that we look at occasionally, and we're looking at it again now, and we'll see if it happens. There's a lot of things. This music isn't something where you can just get up on stage and just play it without a lot of rehearsal, without a lot of production, and that comes into play. So.
And I guess obviously you're right, and when you're writing the records, you're not ever thinking that it's going to be live. So does that give you like a kind of an extra freedom to say, well, wow, we can really do a lot of different stuff on here, because I know we don't have to really end up, kind of trying to do it live? Or does that not make any difference?
I don't know if that comes into play in my writing, but it certainly is. It's an obstacle to the live thing, like some of the editing and how we're going to reproduce that. I'm sure it can be done. Lots of bands do it, but it's something that's going to take a lot of time on our part to figure out.
And we're talking about doing some live stuff, but maybe not in the traditional way that there's live performing, which I kind of like that, because, OSI is really not a traditional band or anything. I think everything about it is untraditional, just the way the songs are, the structures, how it came about, which I think also makes it really super interesting. So I like the fact that, there is 90% going to be some sort of a live thing here, but it's probably going to be, as with everything else you guys do, a little different, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. So look forward to that. So this is the fourth record you guys have done. It's like naming your favorite kids. I'm not going to ask you to name your favorite record, but how do you think that this one differs from the first three?
It's hard for me to say, because I think I've answered this question for you before. I'm not far enough removed from it yet. You got to ask me about that in a few years. I can look back at the first three. I kind of like Blood, the last record we did, the best, but this one may very well be above that. But it's hard for me to say. Too close to it. We worked on it for 2 years and listened to the songs every day.
I don't know. For me, the album, when I listened to it, just like you were saying, like after mastering, just from beginning to end, it seemed to me this album had a more consistent mood to it. It's kind of more mellow, I would say, overall than previous albums, but it definitely has like a certain sound to it. The overall production, the sound of it, and like the keyboard sounds and synth sounds, I'm thinking to myself, are more unified throughout the whole thing and a little bit more organic sounding.
So records coming out. We follow metalblade.com, and you guys will get all the information. Also, there's an OSI website.
OSIband.com.
Kevin is on Twitter.
That's right.
You can follow him. What's your Twitter handle?
Kev Moore.
Yes.
I think.
Kev Moore.
At Kev Moore.
And he'll be giving you updates, and obviously Metal Blade everybody will be giving you tons of updates as to when the record's coming out, and all the other things that are going on in the world of OSI. We've got a promo video coming up that we're gonna hopefully get together, and hopefully the live show. So there's a lot of stuff I think happening in the new year for you guys. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.